Hello, hello, and welcome to my thought on Sunday, which is on Wednesday because Sunday was such a busy day. Um, I want to remind all of you that every Sunday, that's why it's a busy day, every Sunday at 5:45 on Instagram, I have a chat about current issues, crazy issues, with my darling, wonderful, gifted friend Kate Copstick. 5:45 London time. That's GMT. Um, every Sunday, and if you're on Instagram, it's Lynn Ruth Miller. Lynn Ruth Miller, and you'll see that I've gone live, and I think you'll enjoy it. And of course, we welcome comments. We love comments. And I'm reminding you about my book, which is The Last Laugh, because I want people to buy it and get the last laugh and find out that you can start any new career at any age and enjoy it, because I am enjoying it. Uh, and then today, what I'm going to talk about are just silly little anecdotes, because I think most of you know that I moved over to Britain um, when I was 81. I celebrated my 81st birthday in Brighton. And we think that the America and Britain have the same. We have the same language, and we live the same lifestyle, and that is not true. And I always say that I lived in America for 80 years, and I decided, okay, I'm going to come to the UK and I am going to learn proper English. And I ended up in Glasgow. And if you don't know the accent in Glasgow, you will know that nobody can understand a word those people are saying. Um, but when I got here, I was absolutely shocked at how many differences there are. For example, I was standing in an office building and I was looking for a particular office, and I asked somebody downstairs in the lobby. I said, how am I going to get up to that office? It was I think it was a lawyer's office. It was probably because I was working on my visa. I said, how am I going to get up there? And they said, you need a lift. And I said, I know that. I'm 87 years old and I definitely do need a lift, but all I need to know is how to get up there. And of course, they don't call them elevators, they call them lifts. The other shock that I lived here for 7 years and I still never realized, they don't have sidewalks here. They do not have sidewalks, they have pavement. And I have always walked on the sidewalk, and I've always said I walked on the sidewalk. Nobody ever says anything, but they don't have them here. They just have pavements. Um, One of the other things I really love is that people will say to me, we'll just pop in for a while. Well, in the States, you pop corn, uh, or you pop the weasel, but you don't pop in. You stop in and visit. They pop in. Um, and what is it? I'm trying to think of the original. What they do? They call. They have such different names. They call. And I can't think, but I know that I know the thing, of course, that is really funny is and surprised me is that they call people from India Asians, and we call people from China and from Japan Asians in America. But they call people from India, which is correct, Asians. And of course, we don't. We call them to fix the computer. And dummies, they call pacifiers dummies. And so my joke is you put pacifiers, you put dummies in a baby's mouth. We put them in the White House, and we certainly do in America. Um, and then of course there's the term Fanny. A Fanny is is a vagina. It is not a bum, and I did not know that. And one of my jokes is uh, what is it? You put we put fannies in chairs, and you fuck them. But that's a but the point is that it's Fanny, and I have a novel. It's called The Late Bloomer, and it's on Amazon. Um, and you can get it in the UK. And if you want it in the United States, you have to send me a private message, and I'll send it to you because the ones in the United States are exorbitantly priced. But the main character is Fanny, and I never realized that I was talking about a woman's crotch. I thought I was talking about a woman named Fanny. But my favorite story is a story that a comedian in America, George Corrigan, talks about, because when he came over, he's from here, and when he came over to the United States, the two things that amused him is he said, I would like a fag, and a fag in Britain is a cigarette, and in America it's a gay man. So the guy said, well, you have to go to the Castro district of San Francisco if you want a fag. And he said, no, I just want a smoke, a fag. And the other thing, and I find this extremely funny, is he says that he went out. Now, this is George Corrigan, not me. He went out on a date, and the date said, well, I have to get my fanny pack. And we used to have little fanny packs that we wore on our backside and in the States. And George said, fanny pack. He said, what do you keep in it? And I always have loved this. She said, well, I keep a breath freshener and a comb. And it always makes me laugh. It always makes me laugh. But that is, the fanny pack is the United States thing. They don't have fanny packs here. They don't have fanny packs here. But they do have really interesting ways of getting dressed. One of the things I go to Newcastle to do comedy very, very often, and in Newcastle, those women don't wear coats, and Newcastle is cold. And I was there in the winter, and the wind is 40 miles an hour when it's not windy. It's cold. And I was doing comedy, and this was in January, and these two girls walked in. They looked like little sort of slips, underwear slips, very low cut and very short, and then mesh stockings and heels up like this, and beautiful earrings, and very well made up, very thick makeup, much thicker than I ever wear on stage. And this is in January, and I had come to the comedy club wrapped in about 6 coats and 6 scarves, and the wind practically blew me there. And they walked in like that, and I said to them, for God's sake, what do you wear in the summer? They didn't understand what I was saying. The other thing that's interesting, of course, is that they drive to me on the wrong side of the street. We drive. I do it naturally. When I get in the car, the steering wheel is on the left, and we drive on the right side of the road. We drive on the right side, so we are looking in the middle. They are on the right, and they when they I don't know how they park the car, because how do they see the curb? They're on the right, and the curb, of course, is on the left when they park. But I guess they also can park on the right. But the other thing that is interesting is the size of the roads. Now I go on their motorways, and they're like alley. Of course, I'm from San Francisco. I'm from California, and they're as narrow as alleyways or tiny little side streets, and they make it 2 ways. And when you walk down the street, you would think, because they sit on the right, that's where you should walk, is on the right side of the street as you walk. But you don't. The signs are all over saying, walk on the left, walk on the left. So I'm always all mixed up, and I bump into everyone. But let me see if I can tell you. They also have Pancake Day, where when we eat pancakes, first place, we eat them for breakfast. We eat them for breakfast. And our pancakes are thick and fluffy, and we eat them with butter and maple syrup. They don't. They have thin pancakes that are more like crepes without filling, and they put sugar and lemon juice on it. Everybody eats it, and that's what they do. Another interesting thing is, this is a small country compared to America. And so they have the same frame of reference. So everybody has watched the same programs. Everybody, when I talk about Monty Python and the incident with the parrot, and if you don't know that incident, you must look it up. It's extremely funny. It's about a man that is returning a parrot, and he says to the shop owner, the parrot is dead. And the shop owner says, no, he's just resting, which is very, very funny. But everybody in Britain knows that. You can sing a song. There's a song, Give Me Sunshine, that was in I think it was Morecambe and Wise, which is a wonderful, wonderful program that Americans don't know about because we've missed a lot of very good humor. But Morecambe and Wise is absolutely marvelous. And it was Give Me Sunshine. And there isn't a person in Britain that can't sing that whole song. Now, you cannot go in the United States and have one person sing, every person know one song, except maybe God Bless America. God Bless America. I think maybe most of us know that one. But let me see what else they do. I told you about the pop-in on the sidewalk. When you walk down the street and you see someone, they will say to you, "Are you all right?" And when they first did that to me, I told them, I said, well, no, I'm not that all right. I've got a hip pain in my hip. My knee is acting up. And pretty soon I realized that it's the same thing as when we in America say, how are you? We really don't want to know, and they don't want to know if I'm all right. What you always say is, I'm fine. And in Britain, you say you're fine if you're crippled and just been run over by a truck. You say you're fine. Because they have a protocol. You don't complain. You say you're fine. And I love that. And I always say, yes, I'm fine. And I never admit to any aches and pains. Although I assure you, the older I get, the more I have. And the other, when I was in Mexico doing comedy, when I was in Mexico, there was a man named Don who said to me, I consider Britain a third world country. And I said, you're kidding, because, I went to the Edinburgh Festival and I find them very sophisticated. I find one of the things that I think is very interesting is I find they have a big thing about working class and upper class, which I pay no attention to because I'm American. But working class people who are supposed to be the bottom of the barrel, the ones I have met and the ones that I know are very bright. They're very informed, and they're very. They have a very, I think, modern, up-to-date view of life. But that, of course, is because television, has literally leveled us. We all try to wear the same things, and thanks to a shop here called Primark, we are able to afford the beautiful fashions we see. We try to eat the same kind of food. We know the food fads. We all worldwide, but it isn't so here because especially in Scotland, there is absolutely no concept of avoiding fried foods. In America, of course, we all avoid fried foods. We try to stay away from them. Here, they deep fry Mars bars, which are chocolate bars that are full of caramel. Unbelievable, and they make them even worse by deep frying them. And the favorite dish here is fish and chips. And they take a beautiful piece of cod, which is a lovely fish, and they dip it in a batter. And that batter is the sign of a good fish and chips thing. And they fry it. And then the chips here are French fries. Chips, what we call chips in America, are crisps. They're crisps, but the chips are French fries, and it's drenched in grease, and they sell it wrapped. They don't give it to you in a little bag or a little carry-out plastic. They sell it. They wrap it in newsprint. That I used to wash windows, and that's and everyone loves it, And when I lived above the fish and chip shop, Bardsley's Fish and Chips, which is now not there, and that is a crime because it was the best fish and chips in England. And when I lived there, they thought that I was committing an obscenity because I wouldn't let them bread the fish. I wanted it just broiled, which they did for me because they're the most lovely people in the world. The people who own Bardsley's Fish and Chips, who did own Bardsley's Fish and Chips, but now they've sold it. Um, and so that is. Oh, and then the ultimate. I will give you the ultimate, and that will be the end of this thing. I was doing comedy in a place in Essex, and by the way, Essex is it's peopled by what we would call blondes, and we make fun of Polish people, and it's peopled with people like that. The mentality there doesn't exist, and that's Essex. And I went to a place called Bellaricky, which is impossible to spell. I'm not even going to try to have you spell it. You won't get it, no matter how you. But it's called Bellaricky, and I went to a golf club. My father played golf, and I thought, well, I can tell them lots of golf jokes. And I walked in all ready to tell them the joke about the businessman and the priest. And they looked at me, and I said, well, so how many of you play golf? So we could talk about the golf score, because, that can be very funny. And they said, no one plays golf here. They belong to the golf club because it has a very large television set. And the other story is another one that another comedian told me in Pacifica, and that is that in Scotland they had no electricity in the farming areas, in the little tiny towns. They had no electricity, and when they finally got the electricity, it was called an STD, which was a trunk. That the T is for trunk, and it was the STD which brought the electricity to the tiny little villages and tiny little farm places in Scotland and in England, especially up in the north. The STD, it was a wonderful thing. It changed the life for them. And when this gentleman from Pacifica moved from Scotland, his name was Laurie, and when he moved from Scotland to America, someone said to him, do you have STDs there, sexually transmitted diseases, STDs? He didn't know what they meant. And he said, oh, yes, he said it was STD. He said it was the most wonderful thing that happened to Scotland. Everyone has it. Young people, old people, farmers, businessmen, which I think was very funny. And the other thing he told me is that when you look at a woman wearing her silk stockings, and we say, if they've got a runner, if there's a string that has, if it's a runner, and they call them ladders. You have them a ladder. So now you've had an instruction in how to speak British English, and how confused, and now you know what a confused little old lady I have been since I've been living in this lovely, hospitable country. And thank you so much for joining me for my Sunday Thought on Wednesday. I will have one on Sunday this Sunday because it's not as busy. Again, I'm going to tell you 5:45 Lynn Ruth Miller on Instagram, 5:45 London time. You're going to hear Kate Copstick, who is a national treasure, and she and I will be doing a program called Old Bitches Talking Shit. And I like to think that we are old bitches because we don't take crap from anyone, but we sure do speak a lot of shit. And once again, getting the last laugh, it's going to make you laugh. And I'm told it also might make you cry. Thank you so much for joining me.